Okay, so we're moving on to the next section in the book, which is 2.4. It's got a fancy name: linear equations in two variables and linear functions, etc. And that's going to be having to do with homework number 9. So we've covered stuff for homework 6, 7, and 8 of the recent homeworks, and we're going on to onto topics that have to do with homework number 9. So we start with the slope, the slope of a line. That's where we need to go first. So let me get started. That was just the introductory note there. Let me get us started. With my pencil. Here we go. The pencil, and now I can get started. Okay. So what are we dealing with today? We're on this video. We're dealing with something called slopes. Okay, so here we go. This is the material that we're talking about is, wait a second, I lost my pencil. I got it. Do I get it back? Yeah, I got it back. So we're talking about slopes. Forget about the fancy name in the book or in the syllabus. The topic right now in this part of this section 2.4, linear equation, two variables, all the fancy names, but we're talking about slopes. So now let me set up a problem right away, and I'll explain a little bit about slopes. Just give me a chance. So the first problem that we got to do is to find the slope of between these 2 points. Here's the 2 points. Negative. The first one I want to do is -3, comma -2. That's 1 point. The other point is 2 comma -5. 2 comma -5. Okay, and here's how you might look on your paper, on your test paper, or on your homework. M equals, small m equals. That is the letter they use for slope. Here's the formula that you got to remember by heart. Right over here is the formula. M is equal to y2 minus y1. So bear with me on this. It'll all play out. Just give it a chance. Over x2 minus x1. Okay, that's the formula. Now, what's on your paper, on your test paper? What's on your homework assignment, Alex? They give you 2 points. They ask you for slope. Here's what you got to start doing immediately. You go right away and call this x1, y1, and you call this x2, y2, and then let's follow exactly what the formula says. Just follow. As soon as we set that up, our own x1, y1, make sure to call it x1, y1, not x1, y2, x1, y1, x2, y2. Then we're ready to figure out what the slope is. Here's what the slope is. We're going to fill in the blanks into the formula. You got to remember this formula by heart. y2 is equal to -5. Okay, no problem. Minus is part of the formula. y1 is equal to -2. I'm putting in parentheses or else there's going to be confusion. I don't mind the -5 being without parentheses, but the second one needs to be in parentheses. Okay, that is y1. Where did I get it from? I get it from right over here. x2 is equal to 2. Where did I get that from? Right over here. Minus is part of the formula. Fine. And then x1, let's go look up x1. x1 is right over here. It's -3, so I put in parentheses -3. All I got to do is work these numbers out, and we're almost just about finished. -5, -2 is -5 plus 2, right? So -5. So let me write it all out. Let's not skip any steps, just so you can follow this. -5 plus 2. And then beneath that is 2 minus -3. And whenever there's two negatives, it's a plus, just like what happened over here. So 2 plus 3 is what we're looking at over here, 2 plus 3. And I have a little room on the side here. So -5 and 3 is -2. And 2 plus 5 is 7. And here's my slope. You can have negative slopes, you can have positive slopes, and we just got ourselves a negative slope. Most of the time, a slope is going to be a fraction, 2/7. 1/4, etc. Okay, that's our first example of a slope. Let's go on to another one. Let's try another one. Number 2. What is the slope of 3 comma negative 2? I'm changing the numbers, obviously. 3 comma negative 2. And between these 2 points, 2 comma negative 5. Okay, I changed it just a little bit. What is the slope? Okay, so don't forget, when you go to scrap paper, when you get on your test, whatever, you start on your scrap paper or on your test paper, wherever you're going to write this, x1, y1, put that down. Put this as x2, y2. And let's follow the formula again, right? So in both of the question was, what's the slope? The question was, what's the slope? All right, so for number 2, let's write down the formula for slope right over here. It's y2, again, I know it's up here, but let's write it again. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. There's the formula for slope. I have some room over here. Let me make use of it. That's 1. It's supposed to be a 1. Okay. Anyway, so what's my y2? It's negative 5. Fine. Put down the negative 5. What's my minus is part of the formula. What's my y1? It's negative 2. Fine. So far, so good. What about x2? x2 is a 2. And minus is part of the formula. Minus is part of the formula. And x1 is a 3. Where does that get me? Negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. And 2 minus 1 is 2 minus 3, is negative 1. When you have 2 negatives on top of each other, you ignore the 2 negatives. The negative divided by negative turns into positive 3 over 1. But what's 3 over 1? It's equal to 3. If you do not have any denominator, then you write the final answer, m is equal to 3. Do not use this denominator anymore. You don't need that denominator. Here we needed a denominator, yes, but not over here. We don't need that 1. We just write m is equal to 3. There we have 2 examples of slopes. Now, let's go see some exceptional, strange case of slope. I'm going to put up 2 strange questions. What if you have, you're asked to find the slope of 2 comma 3, the slope between 2 comma 3, and the other number is 4 comma 3. Okay, that's going to be one question. We're going to try to do that as soon as we can. Okay, and then the other question right next door to it, right over here, the other question is, what's the slope between 2 comma 1, 2 comma 1, and 2 comma 3? Okay, there's our 2 questions. Now, let's go off on an explanation. An explanation. What is a slope? A slope is when you have 2 points, let's say 1 point here and 1 point here, we're trying to measure what is the slope between these 2 lines. In other words, you're going across and you're going up. So the slope is a measure of altitude. The y part is the altitude, is the up and down, and the x part is the cross, left and right. The slope, it's like a ski slope. We're trying to measure how steep the slope is between the 2 points. That's what we mean. That's what we mean by slopes. That's what slopes means. That's what we were doing over here. We were measuring the slope between these 2 points. We were measuring the slope between these 2 points. And now we've got 2 more that we got to measure. Okay, now let's start with number 3. x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's follow the formula. The formula's up here. Don't forget our formula. Let's follow the formula. So it's going to be 3 minus 3 over x2 is going to be 4 minus 2. x1 is 2, so it's 4 minus 2. What do we get? 0 over 2 equals. Now hold on. I'm pausing for a second. I'm pausing. I want to do 4. I want to do problem number 4. So let's do, it's going to turn into x1, y1, and x2, y2. And let's follow the formula. So y2 is going to be equal to 3, minus is part of the formula, then comes the 1, over x2, which is 2, minus is part of the formula, and x1 is 2. That becomes 2 divided by 0 equals. Okay, this is pretty strange. We've got a strange result over here. Let me move my paper upwards. I want whatever paper I can get. Okay. So, what's the answer? What's the final answer for this? The final answer is 0. The slope is equal to 0. That is the answer, because 0 on top in the numerator divided by 2 is 0. We've talked about this before. But what if you have a 0 in the denominator? Not in the numerator, in the denominator. Then you have to answer that the slope is undefined. A whole different story. Okay, so now there's four types of lines. There's lines that go up from left to right on the number line. That's case A. There's lines that go downwards from left to right. I'm not on the number line. I meant on a graph. They go down left to right on a graph. Up left to right, down left to right. There's lines that are completely flat. They're horizontal, and there are lines that are vertical, completely vertical. So, whenever you have a positive slope, whenever the slope is positive, m is positive, then you're going to m is positive. Then it means that you have a line that's going upwards left to right. If m is negative, that will be a line that's going downward left to right. If you have a flat horizontal line, horizontal line, that's when the slope is equal to 0. There's no slope. It's not going up or it's just going across. And in this case, when m is undefined, that's when you have a vertical line. A vertical line is when m is undefined. Those are the four types of lines, and that's how you deal with slopes. And extremely important to remember this formula. This is the formula for slopes. Okay, we end this video at this point.